What's up, YouTube? I want to do a rod and reel review today. Probably going to be a little bit shorter video because that carp fishing one was a tad longer than I like to do, by about 5 or so minutes. Anyway, what we're going to be talking about today is the Ozark Trail OTX reels and the OTX rods. Now, Ozark Trail, it's Walmart's brand of outdoor gear. They've never been known for having super high quality stuff, but I think with the OTX line, they really changed their quality control and up their quality in general. The rods, you can buy them by themselves for about $33 to $35. You can get them in ultralight, medium, and I think a medium casting version for your bait casters, which they also make a OTX casting reel. I've primarily been using these as bait poles, catching bluegill and stuff like that for my catfish setups, but I have been doing some bass fishing and catfishing, carp, stuff like that. But let's just go over the rod real quick. They've got these cork split grip handles. They're kind of aggressive, but it is a soft cork whatever. Kind of cool pattern on all of them. It's not bad looking at all. They don't feel bad either. Fuji grip. I really like this grip on just about any rod that it's available on. It's just super comfortable for me. And with the 3000 size reel, this is super balanced as far as, not being too tip heavy, not being too back heavy. It's just the weight of these setups is distributed very well. Rod specs are 7-foot medium power, 6 to 12 pound line rating, 3/16 to 5/8 ounce lure weight rating. Most of the time I'm either throwing like a weightless setup of some sort or like a 1/2 ounce Carolina rig with either a little worm hook or a small circle hook to catch catfish or bluegill or whatever with. It casts like a dream. It feels more like a medium light because the tip section is very soft, but it does have a really nice backbone to it. The bass that I've caught, the few of them that I have caught on them, were in really steep banked creeks, high sticking them, putting a lot of that pressure on the upper end of the rod, close to the tip, which you should never do because that will break a rod really quick. But they didn't crack, they didn't break, they held up really well, and this was on about 1.5 pound, 2 pound bass. Onto the reels. Well, a little bit more on the rods. They've got these, whatever they're actually called, type of guides and eyelets and whatnot. It just casts really well for an Ozark Trail setup. Onto the reel. Both of them that I have, these are identical setups that I have, by the way, besides the brand of the braid. But it's a 3000 size OTX reel. Line capacity is 210 yards of 6 pound, 175 yards of 8 pound, or 145 yards of 10 pound. Well, I've got 10 pound braid on here, so I'm going to get a lot more than 145 yard on there. It just works really well. You could definitely get away with like 12, maybe 15 pound braid on these and still get a lot of performance, but I think 10 pound braid, for the way this rod feels and bends and handles, 10 pound braid is just about perfect for this setup. The drag, I really like the drag. Like the little clicker on the inside of it is made of metal, so it's got a really nice loud sound to it. And the adjustment on these reels, it's just a super nice adjustment. Like, you can be confident in your adjustments and knowing where or how much pressure your drag has on it when you're fighting a fish or when you need to adjust it. But let's take a listen to the drag. It's really nice sound, nice and loud. I did take these reels apart and clean them, lube all the bearings, things like that when I got them. They're nice and smooth, they're not heavy, they don't make any weird noises. And like I said, you can get these rods for about $35, the reels for about $35. And I primarily, like I said, use them as a bait pole, throwing weightless or 1/2 ounce Carolina rigs. which is about the sweet spot for these rods. Now, are these rods worth the price point? Absolutely. Now, Ozark Trail, like I said, never been known for high quality stuff, but again, they have, something has changed with them. These rods are a lot nicer than their stuff previously. You know, I've got Dobbins, Shimano's, like, you know, nicer stuff, and these are almost always with me, especially when I'm catfishing, because they just make it so much fun catching bigger bluegills and stuff like that as catfish bait. Now, I have caught, you know, bluegill, bass, catfish, carp on them. They're fun. They're very well rounded. You're not going to be disappointed with these rods. I highly suggest going and checking them out, at least looking at them. And if you decide to buy one, inspect it first before you buy it, because you know how people are at Walmart. Half the stuff they have on the shelves are broke because customers, you know, just drop them out of the rack, or just lay them on the counters, or, you know, drop them in the floor, or, you know, do that little bend test too bad or too far and, you know, break the rods. Or they come in from the warehouses with crushed blanks. Inspect every rod that you get your hands on before you buy it. Again, Ozark Trail OTX, solid setups. I really like them. I might have some more later on, but I bought the first ones and ended up buying another one. You don't have to spend this much steel fishing. Matter of fact, I'll leave a link in the description to a previous video. Can you go fishing for $15? That was a very fun video, even though I only caught like 2 or 3 fish. Again, if you want, you know, something a little bit more budget friendly but performs a little bit nicer than the super budget stuff that you can get at Walmart, I highly suggest checking out those Ozark Trail OTX rods and reels. You know, spool them up with monofilament or braid, which brings me to another point. You can also get Ozark Trail monofilament at Walmart for about $6 or $7 for 1,600 yards. That is a deal. Anyway, just figured I would get on here and mention these rods, talk about them a little bit, and hopefully give y'all another option for something that's not quite low end, something not quite high end, something kind of in the middle. Anyway, again, Ozark OTX rods and reels, they're worth the money. Check them out. I'll leave links in the descriptions to them so you can kind of check them out on the websites or in stores. So they're worth it. Get you some, catch some fish. We'll see you in the next video.